Testing, testing. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I think so. Okay. Uh, I'm going to read some of my book. And I just explained something to my mom. I showed her this dress and these watches. It's a really nice watch, a Casio watch. They gave us some nice stuff. I was talking about not being able to tell the time last night because my iPad is 3 hours wrong. The clock is always 3 hours wrong, and I can't get it to be correct. It's always behind, and and uh, and so I was googling about that, and I was also thinking, I'll bet it's 3 hours behind because they made it 3 hours behind, because that's their number. And so this morning and I was talking about this one woman who I was reading about, who she tied her boyfriend up, and then she put a pair of panties in his mouth, and then she put duct tape over his mouth, and then she told him who the panties belonged to that she stole them from, which was his sister. And then while he was tied to a chair, she did cock torture on him for 2 hours. And and his sister was fat too. And so I was talking about that, and then today, and I was saying I would love to have a girlfriend like that. Not to say that I wish that someone would do that to me, but she would be the type of person who would be able to figure out something so sick that it would make me crazy. And it would surprise me, and I'd say, I didn't even know that this is what I wanted. And then so this morning, when I was coming out to cut the grass, I see this dress that looks like it's covered in piss, and then this bag of watches, and a woman's watch and a man's watch, which would presumably be a stalking gang stalker saying, like, we're a pair, and here's my piss, and jack off to this. And then really it's just a dog pissed on it or a guy, and then they all watch on their hidden cams as I jack off to it, or something like that. And or it's just a reference to what I'm saying. It's just an algorithm, like it's just generated by AI. Like I was talking about needing the time, so they put in two watches. Or the one watch was for my mom. I kind of think my mom's a TI. I really don't know, but a lot of times when she comes home, there's cars parked in front of our house synchronizing with her. But she's the type of TI who, if I told her she's a TI, she would call her gang stalking boyfriend and say, "Z-Bobs has lost it. Let's take him to the psych ward." No offense. I'm just kind of exaggerating here. I'm just, no offense. I take that back. What I'm trying to say is she's the type of TI who does not believe that gang stalking exists if she's a TI, and telling her about it would be totally useless. And her brain just couldn't fathom it. And I was laughing. I didn't tell her this, but I wanted to tell her, if you found out that you were being gang stalked, your reaction would be way more vengeful than mine. You think that I lost it. You haven't even imagined what you would do. And, but anyways, maybe the watch of the woman's was for her to say, you're being targeted. And she's like, and I'm telling her this, and she's going, I don't want to know, I don't care. I don't, And part of me has said, you know what, you've always known, and your reaction of being mocking me and saying, the only thing I'm going to do is laugh at you if you talk about this, and I don't care at all. Just, you're, and I don't approve of you even talking about this. Just don't talk about this. You think you got raped? Don't talk about that. Okay, that's angering, obviously, if you're telling someone, hey, can you please believe me? And they're like, and that's their response. But part of me has been going, shut up, Stu, fuck you. Good for you. Don't even treat this like it's anything. Don't even treat this like it's anything. And I know it's so lame when people are like, just ignore it. And you're like, well, how do I ignore it? Like, fuck you. And they're like, well, no, it's not like that. It's like, you have some choice. I hate to sound like a fucking preacher. I'm sorry. You know what? That's right. I am sorry for saying that. You have no choice. You have no choice. Your choice is determined by how much you know. The more you know, the less you pay. And if you are being, I forgot what I'm talking about. I'm just bullshitting here, but I kind of got it. Because I cut the grass. I smoked weed today, but I did cut the grass. So I have more like blood flow going to my brain. And that's the other thing too. I was thinking of this one, like my first wife here on since I found out I'm targeted. And I have my trust issues too. Like obviously, I'm a bad husband right now. Like I'm on break. I'm not talking to anyone. I'm not checking my notifications. But when I first saw her, I told her how beautiful she was, and then I went beyond complimenting her, and I just started talking about how I want to be beautiful like her too. And she didn't really respond to me that much about that. And I thought it was because, which I took as a response too. From someone like that, I take a non-response as a response too. And whereas a normal person, I take a non-response as a rejection. And so she says nothing about that. And I'm thinking, she's trying to tell me, don't be so vain. She's trying to tell me, I'm so beautiful, and I can tell you it's not a big deal, and don't be so vain. But there's another thing that she was talking about that totally went over my head. Now, she's a very significant person to me, and nothing she says should go over my head. But this went over my head. And what she said was that she doesn't like to be beautiful because the people who are stalking her are exploiting her for how beautiful she is. And so she would rather not do her makeup, and she would rather be ugly. And so I didn't think anything of that. And in fact, I thought that's just kind of stupid. She's so beautiful that she's actually just kind of stupid, and that's why she's saying that. Or she's just bragging. And it's not really that it's stupid what she's saying, but it's just kind of not saying anything. Like, because she's still wearing makeup and she can't avoid them, and unless she was saying just don't wear makeup in the house. Unless she's saying I actually like wearing makeup in the house when I'm by myself, but I can't do that now because gang stalkers are watching. I never considered that. But anyway, that's not the point, and I don't think she's stupid. I think, and I know that sounds bad because if you say I don't think someone's stupid, it sounds like, well, why are you saying that? Like, why would she think that you thought she's stupid to begin with? Because she's super hot, and super hot people are stupid. Fuck you. And but something, I did get caught by that when she said something that slipped over my head, that I don't like being beautiful for them. And today I've lost weight. I'm down to like almost 100. I'm down to 180 pounds, and I fucking cut the grass without my shirt on, and I did my hair to hide my microcephalic head. I did my hair so I look like an actual hot guy. Check this out. Look at my fucking profile view, and I had good posture, and there's cars driving by me. I'm listening to music. I just woke up. I just smoked weed. I've only been enlightened since last week, which means, in non-snooty terms, that I've only been not blaming myself for being a victim since last week. Well, before then, I 99% didn't blame myself, but 1% I did. And the final percent makes a huge difference. It's a difference that only happens at the final percent. And then it changes completely. It's like when the water reaches 100 degrees, then it evaporates, and then it changes. But at 99, it just stays water. So anyway, I'm walking around with my shirt off, cutting the grass, and I'm feeling pretty hot. I'm actually feeling, without any ego, I'm actually feeling hot. And then I start feeling kind of gross. Like, who am I even showing off for? I'm actually showing off for probably, and this might be a little unrealistic, and forgive me. If you're not a TI, this will sound too foreign to you, so just cover your ears, please. Okay, I'm not saying this is true. This is just how I felt. I felt like literally everyone was a fucking gang stalker, and who am I even trying to look hot for? And then suddenly, I felt really closed off. I felt like gross. I was actually coming out here thinking I'm fucking hot. I feel disgusting now. I don't even want to be here. And I thought back to my first fucking girlfriend, who I now married, who I haven't told her that, but I got married to all my girlfriends, who might have dumped me now too, because I haven't been a good boyfriend. So that's, I'm just saying. And I thought back to her. I thought back to her about, I recognized what she was saying. I don't want to look beautiful. Disgusting. But anyways, so this dress in the yard, this is traumatic. At first, this is traumatic. Oh, they're gonna evict me. It's scary. And or what does it mean? And then part of me is thinking, I'm curious what it means, and I wish I wasn't. This is titillating. This is exciting. What if it really is soaked in piss? Should I jack off to it? Yeah, those questions did come up, and the answer was, no, I don't think so. No, I don't trust the source. I don't trust the source. Now, what if I knew for sure it was my ex-girlfriend who I keep thinking of, and I just, just hypothetically. Now, that's another thing too. I've had to grieve to get rid of my soul tie bonds with a lot of these gang stalkers. And a lot of those soul ties have saved my life too, but in the abusive dad way. Okay, so your dad has to abuse you for you to feel loved, because you have to know that you've gotten under his skin and that he's an animal to see the truth. And so you have to provoke him until he beats you, otherwise, or abuses you somehow. And if he doesn't do that, but beats you, that's pretty much the way. And if he doesn't do that, you never know he loves you, because you never know that he thought about you and cared about you so much and took so much responsibility for you that when you did the wrong thing, he personally took responsibility for it, and that made him so angry that he would actually kill you. And so if you don't learn that, then you won't spend the first half of your life getting hurt. And you need that to be like full, like voluptuous, like to have something to grab onto. Like if you don't have that, you have no thing to grab onto. You have no relatability. You spend the first half of your life getting hurt, and you spend the second half of your life healing. And the reason why you get hurt is because after your dad beats you, you develop an obsession with birds to repress the fact that your dad is an animal. And your obsession with birds turns into a weird femdom fantasy, because your mom also knew that your dad was beating you, and she actually was abusing your dad, and that's actually why he lost it on you. And so you developed some weird femdom fantasy that reminded you of the time where he hit you and it was really, really scary, because that's where your obsessions led to. And then that led to having that association that came all the way back from being hit. Whenever you would see a hot woman who reminds you of your femdom fetish, you would get this feeling of being very uncomfortable and scared, which you have had so many times in your life that you've learned how to mask it professionally and hide it even from yourself. Like a woman has more fat in her face so that she can hide her micro expressions, to hide the fact that she's ovulating from herself and from men, so that men won't kill her babies if they're not from them. And so you have to hide from yourself that you're... Shit, wait, no, I just forgot what I'm talking about. God damn it. You have to hide... What was I talking about again? I don't know. I was on a roll there, wasn't I? It's this damn ADD. I really got to get some shrooms, but I couldn't sleep enough last night, and I don't want to do shrooms when I'm underslept. Okay, so you develop some weird fetish, And it makes you have an association that whenever you see a woman who you'd like to meet, you end up thinking of getting hit, and so the first half of your life you don't know this, and so you have bad relationships, you get with the wrong people. You're supposed to be one way, but you act another way. You're supposed to be a meditator, but you go the path of love, or you're supposed to be a lover, but you go the path of meditation. Whatever it is, you do it the wrong way, and you do that for the first half of your life, and then you figure it out, and then the second half of your life is spent healing, and because it's spent healing, that makes you of value to people, and that makes you relatable, like voluptuous. Like that gives you like, I'm trying to be funny or something. It gives you like a big Brazilian butt to hold on to. It's like the pain that you've been through and that you've healed from gives you maturity. It gives you adulthood. And then you can be of service to other people. And you think that's not a big deal because you think that do-gooders are terrible people, which they are. I mean, all the gang stalkers give to charity. A charity is nothing but a front for gang stalking. And so it makes you not want to do good. But think about the fact that just your presence is what is the good thing, just your breathing. And if you were a normal person, the way that you would be trying to do good is you would be trying to feed the homeless, and you'd be trying to like you'd be trying to go to a shelter and give people turkey. You would be exploiting people with one hand. I mean, that's if you're a gang stalker. You wouldn't understand that you're helping homelessness, but the homelessness is being deliberately created. And that is absurd to think that you could just go downstream like that when you could easily point your condemnations at the head of the snake, which is the COINTELPRO MK Ultra combination, gang stalking, aka investigation, aka human trafficking, aka Holocaust, aka the fucking world, question mark? Is it really everyone, I've wondered? Now, the gang stalkers are getting more extreme, which is a really good thing, because it shows that they are having to get more extreme. The worst thing for us would be the gang stalkers decreasing their effort, which would mean we have this on the back burner and this is fine. When the gang stalkers increase their effort, especially when there's a world war every 100 years, and we're about due for one in the next 10 or 20 years, and everyone in the world, most people now officially are aware that the government is trying to kill them. Is that true or not true? And or is that not true? Maybe that's not true. But there's, oh man, I'm so stupid. I just wish I could talk better. The morale of the gang stalking is going down. The morale of the gang stalkers is going down. The power and control of the gang stalkers is going down. And the effort the gang stalkers are putting in is going up. I mean, that's what I'm noticing. I'm not saying that from a wishful thinking perspective either. Anyways, is that I can read a little bit from my book. I wrote a fucking book. Well, while I was on YouTube timeout. Okay, so let's see here. Oh, and this is I was high, I was grieving, but this is what I wrote. So just stop watching here and only watch from this point on if you're ready to go into the melodrama of emotional issues with me. So this is what I wrote about forgiveness. Okay, I was having a really difficult time with this. She gave me a stroke, I think, nearly killed me. I'm talking about the medication that I think gave me a stroke. that she gave me by stalking me that sent me to the psych ward. Or sorry, not the psych ward, the psychiatrist, thinking I was paranoid. Nearly killed me. She shouldn't have gang stalked me. She shouldn't have said yes. She had no excuse. Okay, this is after I had already forgiven her and it felt really wrong and I wanted to just finally get my anger out there. If someone said do this or die, she had no excuse. How do I know? Because they said do it or die to me too, and I didn't. And they're still killing me, and I'm still not doing it. And if a TI goes nuts and kills people, it isn't the same as her being a gang stalker. She has informed consent. She can say no, kill me. A TI can't say no. They don't know it is happening. They don't know they're being drugged by torture, trauma, and actual drugs. So I likened it to if you put something in someone's drink and then they go and it makes them drowsy and they go drive and they go die because you drugged their drink, then you're responsible. If you give someone drugs that they don't know about or that you malpracticed to give them those drugs that affects their emotional behavior and they go do something bad because of what you did, that's you who did that. And that's why they keep it secret, because when people react, if they found out that that person was drugged, the person who reacted wouldn't be charged. It would be the person who was doing the gang stalking. And it would lead to the handler and it would lead to the whole thing being crumbled. And that's the real problem. Like, I can't watch shows like Jimmy Dore and Do Dissidents because they're like, oh man, the problem in Gaza and the problem in Ukraine and all that. And it's like, well, if you actually had power to make any difference, the person who would kill you would be a gang stalker. And you don't even talk about gang stalking. So you're talking about getting the head of the snake. You're talking about the most important thing in the world, right? The war? No. The real head of the snake of that war you're talking about is gang stalking, and you don't even talk about that. So fuck you, or you're ignorant. The TI can't say no because they don't know what is happening. They don't know they're being drugged. So I'm mad at her because she knows better. I can love someone retarded, but she is mean. Someone retarded who can't consent is not guilty. And the only retards I see are children. Mentally ill adults are just assholes. All gang stalkers are responsible. They're not good people, without exception. Not a single thing they do is good. Not a single good deed doesn't result in harm. They are fully blind, and everything they do without exception is wrong. And nothing good has come from any of it. That doesn't mean I don't love them, but it means I don't want to fuck them. And not wanting to fuck them, they're irrelevant. I couldn't forgive and didn't know why. It was because I didn't know I didn't want to fuck them. I couldn't condemn them because I knew I wanted to fuck them. I wanted to fuck them because I didn't know I'm allowed to condemn them. I didn't know that's what condemning is, when you don't want to sex them. I thought forgiving them meant wanting to have sex with them and having to forgive them to move on. Because they're hot, right? Yes. And if you forgive them, you let the past go, right? Yes. And then you'd want to have sex with them. Simple. But they've not changed and not said sorry. Your forgiveness is so you can move on. But then you miss them. It was left as, hey, let's fuck. Then they left you dry at the last minute, and now you're not mad, you still want to fuck them. You're left thinking about them. It was left incomplete. This is cruel. So you forgive by condemning and not wanting to have sex anymore due to the condemning. And then I was high when I wrote this. If this doesn't make sense to you, it's kind of not making sense to me too. And I'm sorry, maybe I shouldn't even keep reading this. Maybe it'll get better. And then you forget them and so you forgive them and wanting them, and then you forget them and the soul tie is broke. Forgiveness is seeing them as they are. Taking the time to understand their lies are lies. Taking the time to understand them. So you have closure. Condemning is seeing them as they are too. Condemning them, you couldn't be mad at them. You were afraid. You depended. Yeah, this is stupid. I don't know what I was talking about. Well, here's one I like. Okay, this is a good paragraph I like. This is good. Don't worry. It still hurts what's been done to me and with me. I am still daunted sometimes. I am still grieving. Maybe I will never stop. Daunted at the sight of a future and the possibility of living. The goal is to not be reborn. I've thought it possible, but not until this week. I think it's already a done deal. I mean it literally, but it works the other way too. I won't reinvent myself again. My cherry pops only once. I won't be jealous again. I won't be confused again. I won't remember anything or figure anything out again. I won't learn anything again. I won't be anyone or anything again. Even to say I'll do anything, I can't say. To say now that I can get so high, I'm gonna do it. And do it the right, smart way on life with good diet. I can't say I want anything to change. If it takes effort, I can't complain. To who? For what? Everything wrong has nothing to do with complaining. I'm thinking of buying Viagra. I don't have ED, I just want to try it. Yeah, I shouldn't have read all that. I wanted to keep this off the cuff. That was kind of stupid. Again, I was underslept. I swear, get high and stay up and write something, and you'll think it's brilliant. And the next morning when you read it, you're gonna be like, that was like, I don't even like to suspend my disbelief that you even know what you're talking about, and to just keep reading this as if it matters, and the parts that don't make sense I just gotta bend it around to figure out a way it makes sense. The amount of work I'd have to do to make this make sense is fucking insane. But I mean, I wrote pages, and I was writing about just feeling so angry at this girl, and loving her and being obsessed with her. Can you imagine? Did I remember my island tape? Oh my god. Oh, if I forgot that, that would be terrible. Oh yeah, I think I got it. I got a good placement of it. And I went through a lot of changes. What were the changes? I went from begging her in my mind, imagining her, yet condemning her, yelling at her, pitying her, understanding her. And that was the most useful. That was the least throwing a tantrum and saying, she gang stalked me into being in a relationship with her for 10 years. And I'm obsessed with her and I love her because she scared me into liking her more than she's actually worth. And also because I've seen other people as hot as her, but she had some kind of eyes that I think reminded me of something from when I was a child or a baby. And I hate to say this because this sounds kind of sick, but I think she had eyes that reminded me of someone just related to me. And not based on anything sick, just that's a thing. Like you might want someone who reminds you of your dad or your mom or something like that. And I think this person had a certain kind of eyes that hypnotized me and made me think that she was I was a wounded duck and I was following the jeep of the hunters who killed my parents. And so I kind of had mommy or daddy issues that I would have where each new gang stalker would play the role of a surrogate parent. And she was the only person who I ever loved because she had those eyes. And she was the only one I ever trusted. So every relationship I had with everyone else was just really imagining her. And now that I realized that I was even just scared into being with her, and that it was not that she was more hot or more brilliant than someone else, or more great than someone else, but that she had the hypnotic eyes. Okay, we can say, we're not going to go there. Okay, we're going to undo that spell. And she had the Stockholm Syndrome effect and the sunk cost fallacy effect. And so now I'm going, this is the point. Don't you see that you're obsessed and you can't get rid of her? This is the clue. Why? But why are you obsessed with her? Many gang stalkers have done horrible things to you, but you disregard them as less than human anyway. Why is this one so important? Because she's so hot and she's so mean. But why do you care? Because you didn't choose her. Because she scared you into being with her, and she angered you enough that you are that kind of guy who does not want to have sex with people you hate. I'm cold, shit. It's fucking cold out here. Fuck, man. I don't want it to be so cold, and I'm really getting in the zone. Fuck. Oh well. This video is finished. I'm gonna be doing the dishes later. Let's see how long, 30 minutes.